have just a little draft agenda that we just put before you here. Cathy's going to talk about this in a little bit more detail here about how this is going to work. And then Cathy's also, most of you have met Peter already, but Cathy will officially introduce him here. The one thing that I thought would be kind of a fun thing to do, so as you know, every spring we do this wellness summit, right? We're actually, believe it or not, in our 7th year of doing in spring a wellness summit. And I thought that one of the themes for this one in the spring could be the future of wellness. And getting different people's perspectives. We're going to obviously have some guest speakers, but getting from the different disciplines of wellness, their view of what would wellness be like 100 years ago. If you were practicing wellness...
You mean 100 years from now?
From now, yeah, from now, sorry. If you were practicing wellness 100 years from now, what would it look like? What do you think you'd be doing? What do you think this whole kind of wellness field would be? All right. So I thought, as a way to maybe kick this off, all of you represent a little bit of a different perspective here in the wellness spectrum. And at 4:30, I was going to have Jürgen come over and just do a quick video of folks' perspective. And obviously, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. But if you would like to, I thought it'd be kind of a neat thing just to talk about. And I thought that might be kind of a neat preamble to do, thinking about our wellness summit in the spring.
I'm shy though. I don't want to go in front of
right. Right. So Peter's going to start us off talking about the nature of energy. At 3:15, Cathy is going to be doing a cooking demo, talking about culinary naturopathy, and more specifically the whole nutritional energetics that she's into, and giving some real root examples.
And to have a snack.
And have a snack. Okay, sounds good. And then are you going to do that over there or over there? All right. So then after Peter's done, then we're going to be going over to the your cooking demo area in the dining room. Okay.
And I know none of it will happen as it says, but it's a good thing.
Right. And then Lynn's going to talk a little bit about essential oils and the bioscanner. And then again, I thought it would be neat, right? And it'd be neat if we could do this roundtable discussion on wellness in the future. And then, if folks are interested, at 5 o'clock, there's an energetic walk with Peter.
Where did that come from?
Your video.
Yeah, your video.
Your video.
You said it.
Did I?
You were walking through the woods and saying,
It must have been an alternative me.
YouTube video that you
and then at 5:30, we're going to meet for dinner downstairs in the Ratskeller. So we'll do that at 5:30. And then 6 o'clock in the main dining room, make your own pot, a super broth bar. And then at 7 o'clock is Andrea, and of course Mary is here as well too. And
we can. If you want to do something, we've got all sorts of different timings, so
right.
We're all good.
So we're all informal here with our. I think everybody knows each other. All right. So with that, I'll have you maybe introduce Peter. Or?
I think you already did. There's Peter.
Hi, I'm just Peter. Cathy, Ernie, thank you for putting this together. Awesome experience. This is a small group, which is cool. I'm used to working with large groups of people and electrifying them and bringing them out. And typically, I have someone structure what I'm going to talk about in depth, and there's really time for Q&A at the end. And today, I don't want to do that. I just want this to be an open discussion. If you want me to talk to the effects of something that I've experienced, I know, I'll share it. And then I was going to talk a little bit about some of the existing products that I've created over the last couple of years, and we can go in depth in Aquaware and any of the software if you want, and then talk about what's coming next year, because the lineup has been spectacular, but what's percolating up here and coming is just amazing. So I generally like to start off with a water blessing. So if you guys want to grab a glass of water. This is just a goodwill blessing. I do this in shows and whatever we're doing, and it's really simple. So energy that is in physical form or non-physical form will do absolutely anything for you as long as you acknowledge its existence, and that's basically the highest form of a compliment you can give it. So it's simple. You just raise your left hand over the water 3 inches, spread your fingers. In a second, you'll start to feel energy move down through your hand into the water. That can come in many forms. It can be straight up lightning bolt. It can feel heat. You can feel resistance. It can feel anything. This is just pure source energy moving through your hand into the water. Now again, acknowledging energy's existence. Everyone put your attention on the water and repeat these words out loud. I honor the space in which you exist.
I honor the space in which you exist.
Give it a few seconds. You'll start to feel that energy increase through your hands. There's a lot of electricity now in here. This is cool. Bottoms up.
Yay.
So notice the taste and texture, and then notice where it's flowing energetically in your body. See, that one's got an alternative frequency of what I put in it, and this didn't override it, so this is going to be a really good afternoon coming up. So, open forum, what do you guys want to hear about?
Your tools.
The tools, okay.
Like cool.
You know, I have been a product of that Apple generation for a long time, and I've grown up. I worked for Apple as a systems engineer once upon a time, and I know energetically what works and what doesn't work out in the world. And you know, I have received a lot of gifts from people over the years that just feel compelled, like they want to share something with me. A lot of the people that we had on the show over the couple years that we ran it, they'd send me stuff. And one thing that was inherent to everything that was sent to me, it was, are we live?
Yes,
Oh,
we're
so I gotta
live,
watch my
so
mouth.
careful what you say.
It was packed inappropriately for the frequencies and what it said it was going to deliver. So I have received products from $25 north of $1,000, and there's one, and I won't mention what it is to embarrass anybody, but it was a device that was about $1,200, and it came wrapped in pink toilet paper, shoved into a USPS envelope with crumpled up instructions. And when you receive something that you're excited to get, no matter what it is, the packaging is 50 to 75% of the excitement in opening it up and going like, wow, you know, because the energy just flows through that excitement as you get it. And, you know, before entering into the physical world with products, I was, you know, I set the precedence to myself, okay, job one, it has to be beautiful, whatever I create. Two, the packaging has to be absolutely spectacular and contain that energy and that moment, you know, that signature. Three, it has to be simple. It can have no moving parts, and it can't use electricity. It needs to deliver exactly what I say it's going to deliver, but, you know, number five is it just has to be beautiful. So the first device that was created, I wanted to revolutionize an industry in some capacity, right? So the way I receive information can only be explained in the experience of how I receive it. I can't just say, oh, you know, a fairy leaning on my shoulder, whatever, and gave me a little idea in my head. Doesn't work like that. Everyone wants to play these higher frequencies, but what you don't understand is it takes work to get there, right? There's an evolution of the species happening. There's an evolution of the consciousness. It's happening all over. There's people waking up all over the planet with bizarre and beautiful talent. You know, it starts with the indigo children, and again, you know, as I move through these concepts, this is through my own experience and my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. It's just how I perceive and what I've been through. And a good part of these people have high level knowledge of technical backgrounds because they can utilize these skills, and they're, you know, hugely analytical. Now all of a sudden you have this massive metaphysical starts coming online, and it's a constant balance between the two. And it's perfect because it's a check and balance between what's your, you know, perceived to be doing, what you actually do. And there's a lot of talkers in the world. There's blah, 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 blah. There's very, very few people that can pioneer change in the world. There's very few, okay? There's a lot of really good people out there with great ideas, and, you know, however they vibrate, whatever they do make change. But path blazers are very rare, and those are the ones that really create true change in the world. And, you know, let's face it, it's all about love and vibration. You know, the vibration that's emulating here is going to spontaneously go to the next 10 people that you come into contact with. That frequency might not be detected, but it will stick to them. And that's how, things move. So anyways, back to wherever I was, back to the physical products. The first one I wanted to do was, I love sports cars. I like driving fast. Can't help it. I've owned sports cars my whole life. And the one thing, is when you start driving, it's fun. It's responsibility, but it's fun. It's like exciting, it's freedom, whatever. And over time, it's like really, traffic, road rage, and all that. So I didn't know what I was going to create. I had an idea in my head that I wanted to make something and put it in your car. Okay, and when it's in your car, you have an amazing experience, your car has an amazing experience, and just the immediate proximity to the car has an amazing experience. So I didn't know what I was going to create. I just had this idea. And I was given a piece of information. Okay, when the universe delivers a piece of information to you, what you do with that information determines if you move to the next octave. Remember, it's work, it's responsibility. When you get it, so I got it. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. What am I going to make it out of? I'm like, gold and platinum. I'm like, really? Who's going to spend $50,000 on a 1 pound hunk of something? No one. So I went to less noble metals, and then the real work started. Well, what's a conductor of, what's a conductor of electricity? What's using it? Boom, copper. Okay, copper, that's going to be one of the metals. What else can I do? Silver, how's silver used? Boom. So copper attracts negativity the way I design it. And the silver creates and stabilizes the field. And the idea is that if you're a proponent that there is more than one reality that we experience, it's called multiverse, it's called simultaneity, it's called a lot of different things. But the fact is, just outside our five senses, there is an unimaginable, creativity that the universe puts out there. And there's multiple realities. And the only thing that's constant between these realities is the density of matter. Okay? So, we all know how energy flows. In order to receive, you have to give. In order to give, you have to receive, right? I figured out that there's portals between these realities. So I can give something and receive something. How do you do that? Well, that's all part of the magic in the box. So the idea was to transmute all negativity and bring it back as harmonized energy. So when you're all pissed off and you get in your car, it sucks. All of a sudden, the HFA was born. Okay, this is the harmonic field amplifier. This is the first physical product that I had created. Sometimes it's packaged too well. I'll pass this around the table in a second. But what you'll notice is we have the Fibonacci sequence here. This is a formula that's found everywhere in nature. Okay, it's 137, and a lot of the math behind it. You'll notice on the back we have the Seven Sisters, the Palladium star system. I'm still trying to figure out why I put this on there, but I was just told to do it. But it's okay. On the front, you have a clockwise spiral that instantly takes the negativity, pushes it through the hole, which is halfway center. That's the 0 point. Negativity is attracted by the copper. The silver inlay that goes all the way around creates and stabilizes the field. As it passes through, it's returned in a counterclockwise motion as harmonized energy. Okay, you can just pass it around. So this was the first product to hit the market in August of 2016. Now, you have to understand, I've been in digital media ever since I started self-empowerment technology back in 2006 and then later became Modern Day Mystic. And, writing software and developing physical products are two opposite ends of the rainbow. I knew nothing about manufacturing anything. So what was the first thing I did? Well, I picked up the phone and I called the lawyers. I'm sorry, I called some patent manufacturers. And the next day, the vultures called me. It was all the lawyers. And they're like, oh, you got to get it patented here. You got to get it patented there. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make sense. So through a few, I don't want to call them trials and errors. I'll call them learning experiences. I gravitated towards a company in Milwaukee. He's a kid a few years younger than me that's kind of open to what I do. And he just, lo and behold, he's like, this is really cool. I'm going to manufacture these for you. So I was like, awesome. So in 9 months, a birthing cycle, almost to the day, I had these products in the MDM store. Okay, so I was given chunks of information. What did I do with that information? I moved it into physical reality. So now this is the first step in a new pillar within the business model. So beyond that, I wanted to create a much larger device for the home and office. Unfortunately, I sold out of those. I don't have any today, but it's called the HFA Plus for home and office. It's about 4 times the size of that. It has silver that comes up over the corners to the circle, the spiral, which is 2 or 3 times the size of that, and it's much larger. It creates a massive, massive field. Okay, these have been in the world about a year now, and they are doing absolutely magical things for people. They activate them, and you know, one of the key elements in everything I create is simplicity. We don't need candles, we don't need kumbaya, we don't need pretty waterfalls or any of that. It's raw and it's direct energy, okay? So 8 magic words is how you activate all of these devices. So once the HFA came into existence, I was given another piece of information to create what we call the HFA Mini. And that's this guy here. Now these have been in the world about 10 months now, and they have been doing absolutely amazing things for people. This again is made from the purest copper and silver commercially available, and they have been doing spectacular things for people. This is designed to shield you from all negativity, period. Okay? And the reason I can say that is because I do not waver in whatever my mission is, ever. Because as soon as I do, everything I have built has an Achilles heel, has a linked chain, and that cannot be allowed to happen. So you'll notice this guy has a silver inlay that goes all the way around. This is activated with your left thumb. You put your left thumb on it, you put your attention on your body, you say those 8 magical little words, and you just feel it wash over you. You go ahead and pass that around.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
No,
does
the copper,
not you.
does the copper ever tarnish, or does it matter if it does? Because copper normally patinas over time.
Great question. So the HFA, a new way to travel, the HFA Plus are coated. Okay, they have coating on there, which absolutely does not affect the operation of the device. The HFA Mini, because of the properties and how it's close to the body, and it's almost like a biomechanical device, I chose not to cover it with anything. So what you're looking at is what it looks like when it's brand new and it's absolutely pristine. And the idea that kind of rolled off not covering it was it only starts to tarnish when it starts working. So if you're wearing it around your neck and it's activated, I've had people that go down to New York City, it's black in 3 hours, okay? But that's part of the magic. So this is almost like a way to gauge that it's actually working. So, you know, this is one of the original prototypes. You can pass that around. You know, you'll kind of see what they look like. I keep it on a silver chain. So the device itself is made out of pure copper and pure silver, but the chain I recommend being copper or silver. It just helps create a bigger field. Now, when you buy a chain, typically these are mixed with other metals for durability, luster, and everything else. That's irrelevant. But the device itself had to be pure copper and pure silver. So moving along a little bit, I wanted to, and again, I apologize, I don't have any of these. I created what we call a Q-shield for animals. It was basically the same footprint design, except it had a spiral that goes right through the center and one coming out the back. And Cathy Anderson, a very high-level pet psychic we had on the MDM show earlier in the year, you know, said these things are worth their weight in gold. They're amazing, you know, and I only had 25 of the original ones created because some of the advice coming back was, they weigh 30 grams. This is too heavy for my animal. It's too pretty for my animal. So what I did was I brought it back. I went to a retooling process, and we managed to make them 10 grams lighter and offer them in bronze and copper, and they do exactly the same thing. They're more durable. The animals can go through the water with them or whatever, and they're not going to malfunction or break. So beyond that, I started thinking a lot bigger. I'm like, wow, what else can I create? And then, I had this vision of a rose in my head. I'm like, what is that? And now I'm perpetuating, forward motion by giving all these bits of information because I'm bringing them into reality, and people are having amazing effects with it. So this word myrrh popped into my head. I'm like, what is myrrh? And then the number 3 pops into my head. Well, it was one of the supposed gifts that was given to the birth of Jesus. So I wanted to create something again in 2 metals, but yet have an ancient look to it. And what popped up was the present day myrrh compass rose. This is a masterpiece. This is one of my crown jewels I absolutely love. And this is 6 pieces.
I have one right in the cabinet.
It's okay, I'll open this one up. This is 6 pieces grown with a patina, okay? North, south, in the middle are bronze, east and west in the coupler rink are copper grown with a patina. Now, the way this guy works is once you have mentally projected the field that the compass produces onto your land, nothing can exist that vibrates lower than the compass on your property. So you know, Cathy, explain your experience yesterday when we kind of fired yours up.
We activated one yesterday. Peter was willing. We activated one. It's in that glass cabinet right there, and we kind of put it down. It was like this, whoosh, just out to
It's
the
a
borders.
cool rush depending on how
It's
far
like a
you
Star
are.
Trek
Does
ring.
it know how far to go?
It's when you, and that's a great question, by the way, because when you create from having your consciousness unlimited, there are no limits to anything you create. So the field that the rose can create is kind of unlimited. We sit on 25 acres here, no problem. The rose doesn't have to sit on the property. You can remote project it onto property anywhere in the world simply by putting your attention on it. So these guys have been available, I think, for about 5 months now. So late last year, I had this burning desire to create something I am. I think, therefore I am. And as we moved into the new year, I started kind of looking in little boutiques at these little tchotchke types of bracelets that they have in there, $60, $80. They say love, and you can stretch them and they break. And I was like, I'm going to create a bracelet that actually vibrates and does something. And then I'm going to make it out of copper and silver. So I had these mantras being created. I am unconditional love of self. I am love. I am healthy. I am safe. And I got crushed because when my manufacturer came back with price points, I'm like, you're out of your mind. Who's going to buy a $1,000 bracelet? So I kind of put it on the back burner for a few months, and then pyramids started popping into my head. And I'm like, so before the pyramids came up, I had 12 mantras in the I am, and I couldn't figure out the 13th. And the 13th came to me. It was I am presence. I mean, how bizarre is that? It's number 1, but it actually came in last at number 13. So then I wanted to create something else using them. And as I was going through the inventory in my head, I said, okay, well, pyramids have always fascinated people. And pyramids inherently are all kinds of different things depending on what your consciousness wants it to be. Can I marry the power of the I am with the power of the pyramids? I was given a green light. So today we have 13 in copper, or 13 in bronze, and these are I am pyramids. And these have been on the market for about 2 months now, just shy of 2 months. And they have been doing absolutely amazing things for people. And the idea is here, it's a one-to-one link between you and the pyramid. You put it in your space, you point one of the edges at a at a wall, and you let it acclimate for 24 hours, and then you activate it. And these have been really very popular.
So there's 12, 13
There's
different
13.
ones.
There's
for
13
each.
in copper, 13 in bronze.
Oh.
All the same ones, just two different materials.
Oh, okay. So they have all the IMs in them?
Yep.
Oh,
I think I gave people too much choice. And from a logistical stock perspective, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So with a compass, Peter, if I wanted to do it with another property, do I unlink it from this and then project it to
Yeah.
another one and then link it
Yeah.
back up?
Yep. It's just a reverse, counterclockwise.
Okay.
So after the pyramids came into fruition, I started concentrating on the IM bracelets again. And I made the design smaller. And this is the only prototype in existence of the IM Presence bracelet. Now, what you'll notice specifically about this is it has two spirals at the end, clockwise, counterclockwise. Energy comes in, and let me be clear about these. These are meant to attract positive energy, nothing negative. There's nothing ever to cleanse with these. It just attracts whatever the mantra is as it comes through. Again, these are made from the purest copper and silver commercially available. Unfortunately, there was a design flaw, which I caught early. The arms are octagon, and it has silver bands here, here, and here. Over time, when you're wiggling them, they crack. And here, where they polish the band here and here, it rubs some of the silver off. So the new design has the arm is round all the way around, and the silver on the edge has actually been moved in a little bit. And these all have the symbology on there. It says I am presence with the symbol on both sides. I can't say enough about these. These are awesome.
And how does that differ from what the pyramids do?
I'm sorry?
How does the bracelet differ from what the pyramids do?
You know, they do the same thing, but it's really, you know, what your tastes are. Some people won't wear copper. Some people like pyramids. Some people just love the IM. Some people just like to buy everything I have, and that's fine too.
Right.
So variety is really where it's at.
Okay.
So the IM Presence is coming around the 15th of December. They'll be in the MDM store prior to Christmas. What's coming next year? You know, I'm really bad at kind of holding secrets, but I will tell you.
Now that we're live.
I will share with you that next year we have a whole different lineup up here, which is starting to flow. One of them is going to be a charging plate utilizing what's that meteor stone? God, I can't remember the name. Moldavite?
Moldavite?
No.
Moldavite?
It's
Moldavite.
Or
It's
organ?
not-
Organ?
No.
No?
It comes from like one country.
Tektite?
What was that?
It comes
Yes.
from
Tektite?
what's it called?
Tektite?
That's the meteor.
No, I don't know. I
It's a
don't know if
different
it's a meteor,
meteor?
but Moldavite
Oh,
is what it is.
okay.
So the idea is to have this perfect design within copper and silver, and then have the Moldavite centered, and whatever you put on the plate, it just completely erases the negativity and raises the vibration. You can do that with wine. Hopefully, we can do that with tequila. You know,
It might taste different though.
yeah. So there's more, but you know, so what people don't realize is I've done 18 product launches in 18 months by myself, utilizing automation, and it's slowly driving me insane. So next year, although there are new products coming, I'm not going to be working at the breakneck speed that I have been. So that kind of summarizes all these little goodies before you.
Well,
Do you have any questions?
it's so interesting that you talk about Moldavite, because when I was talking to Source about, my little issue of, producing a lot of what's called easy water. So this is a high vibrational gel-like substance that isn't just plain water. It's easy water, and the more easy water, the more healthy you are. But I produce inordinate amounts of easy water. So I asked Source, okay, instead of collecting all this water in my body, is there something else that can vibrate or do the same job without the volume of this pounds and pounds of water? And I got Moldavite. So I placed a Moldavite energetic envelope around all my cells, and then I kind of forgot about what weren't cells. So I recently added bone and fascia, to that. So I think it's amazing that it's so synchronous that the Moldavite came to you, Moldavite came to me, in such quick succession.
Now, sourcing the pure stuff is going to be the linchpin, and I still haven't figured that out yet. But there's, when the time is ready, it'll...
Well, just so you know, it may not resonate with you at all, but radiophysicist Yuri Krohn, his company's called Energy Tools International. They actually borrow the best gems in the world. We're talking like locked under key, but he has a big reputation. So he'll borrow it, and he's able to transmute the subtle energies of whatever it is into any substance, including t-shirts. So he works with other companies to help to infuse those subtle energies in whatever material they're using, whether it be t-shirt material, metal, or whatever. So, and they are looking for, people to work together who are high vibrational people. So just FYI. In case you don't have the perfect Moldavite, you can actually have the energy of the perfect Moldavite, because he'll find the perfect Moldavite and he'll copy
Well,
that
remember,
for you.
it has to look beautiful, so all the energy
well,
is
no,
great.
but you're going to make it. They just do the infusion. You have to make it. So, and these are absolutely beautiful, and I love the packaging, Peter. It really is.
So this is, so far, what I've accomplished in the physical world. So what do you guys want to know about?
I have a question. I'm sorry. I'm just monopolizing. But so, James, you have the EFA in your car, right? Okay. So a loaded question. He had a little road rage coming here. So we're wondering, is it like not linked properly, or what's going on that would not work on
you
James?
have a what?
He has the car one.
Yeah.
I think it was like the first or second generation you had, and he was swearing up a storm and all this kind of stuff. So we're wondering, like, hey, it's not working, so quote unquote not working. So we want to know, why would that be potentially?
So it could be two things. One, it's not linked properly, and that's
He did all the instructions.
that's kind of hard not to do. Two, it can also be, so there are. When you work with energy, any type of energy, and there's no contract, so in order for caring to work on somebody, there has to be a contract in place for the time of the great work and healing to be done. Same with me, same with anyone that is in this field. If there's no contract, that person can go to 1,000 different healers and they're going to get 0 results, but they're going to go to one and get spectacular results. That's an energetic contract. When any of these devices are linked and operating as they should be, if there's an experience that you have to have for some reason, none of these things are going to override that experience, even though it seems like it's a lower vibration. So in hindsight, if you take something in your life, this just some horrid mess from your past that when you put your attention on it, you get all kind of like, ugh, right? Gives you anxiety or whatever. But the light can always exist without the darkness. The darkness can never exist without the light. So when you look at that black mass, right, there is always a pinprick of light in it. And you draw strength from it, and it lets you, it allows you to move forward in the present and into the future. So when you bring all this to bear on the situation that you had, somewhere in there, it was in your highest good for you to experience that. Mm-hmm. Now, if that is continuing to happen, you definitely didn't link it correctly. But an experience here or there, that's perfectly fine. But generally, the overall tone of the HFA is just, zoned out, pleasant. The people around you are really pleasant. Now, my mom's in her late 70s, my dad's in his early 80s, and they travel between Connecticut and Philly all the time. They go down the 95 corridor, which is one of the worst highways on the planet. And they don't understand what I do, but they swear that there's never any traffic in front of them or in back of them as they're traveling. So just when things like this come up, just remember they're in your highest good, no matter how annoying or painful that they are. Now, if it's continuous, we'll take that offline and figure something out for sure.
Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, about me having to learn what I need to. Definitely.
Look, I'm surrounded by this stuff, but I still get pissed. I get stressed out, and I'm human.
It only happens when I gotta get somewhere really quick and on time. It's kind of an accumulated thing from one of the jobs I had when I was in California, and it just sort of mounted up and to a point where road rage just become just like, ugh. Well, slow drivers.
If you have it in the car, we can definitely tweak it for
Need
you.
a flying
after.
car.
Okay.
Great question.
But
Yeah,
it's nice
yeah.
to know that
I'm always putting
that
bubbles
miracle
around
is there
people.
where there's no traffic.
Swear.
Yeah, I like that.
Bubble, bubble.
Come on, you guys are so quiet. Bring it.
Bubble.
I got a ton of questions, so come on, you guys ask some questions before it's like the Karen show here. So,
Yeah, but you're familiar, so the questions are going to be
Yeah,
good. So that's
I
okay.
feel like you got to go back and reverse to the beginning.
I want to go back to how energy works.
So the principles that govern bringing all of these into fruition was the same thing with the software years ago. I had the idea, made something, which was, I hope no one still has that first iteration of the first water program because it was really bad, but it worked. And that was a bit of information that I was given to create something beyond that. And on July 4th, 2007, Aquaware version 1 was born, and 10 years later, we're in the 5th generation of the technology, over 1,000 intents, the Source 5. I believe, Karen,
I got
you
both.
you were the first
Yeah.
interview I did with the Source, right? That was a long time ago. And, with each rewrite of the technology, the code gets tighter as my understanding of how reality works flourishes. All of this goes into the product line. The software has done amazing things for people over the years and continues. And, there won't be an Aquaware 6 probably until 2019. I'm burnt out. I'm just crispy when it comes to writing code, so I need to step back. But I will promise you this, there will be an Aquaware 6, and I'm going to break the mold of the last 5 generations. And when it is delivered, it will be unlike anything you have ever seen before. So,
And I can pull that up for anybody who hasn't seen it at any time too. If you haven't seen what Aquaware is, I've got it on computers here.
So Mary, is that going back far enough to sort of like understand the premise of this whole thing? Because I'm learning this myself here.
like my wake-up experience?
Yeah, maybe just going back to that and sort of like setting the foundation on how this all came about.
Okay, so prior to my wake-up experience, I was a dick. Plain and simple. I worked on Wall Street. I had massive attitude. I didn't care about anybody. Discernment, humility, unconditional love. Yeah, right. Okay, whatever. One day in August of 2004, I'm working at my computer. And, one thing I work at making people understand is that in order for the real learning to begin, you have to unlearn everything you have ever learned. Okay? And in that learning cannot be conveyed with words. It cannot be conveyed with something written down. It can only be conveyed within the experience. So what I'm about to tell you is a completely watered down version of my experience, because you would never understand it unless you had the experience the way I had it. So I'm doing whatever, and if you can imagine seeing the whole world in black and white your entire life through your eyes, at the speed of thought, I saw everything in 1080p, and it was like the best acid trip you'll ever take. And for about 6 weeks, I was going out of my mind. I thought I was going crazy. Why? Because I was seeing energy in everything. I was at work, I'd see an alien drop through the ceiling in the middle of a presentation. I'd see it look at me, smile, and walk through the door. I had no idea what was happening, but it was a convergence of realities that I was opened up to. So the only thing that kept me going back then was, had I gone insane, I was better off being crazy than where I came from, because I was having fun. I loved what I was doing. I could control energy. If you see it, you can control it. If you can control it, and here's the thing, you can help people. I was still kind of learning that. So after about 6 months, I had a massive ego, and I thought I was the right-hand avenging angel of God here to smite all evil in the world because I was cool, what I could do. And I crashed and I burned horribly in the experience.
What do you mean crash?
I just crashed. I imploded. Depression, just my ego was up here, and pop. Saint Germain brought me back down and grounded me, and that's when the real learning began, and that's when the real gifts started showing up. And I'm very cautious about limiting my ability to do anything by classifying myself as A, B, or C. When you move through reality as an unlimited being, you have unlimited potential at your fingertips to achieve anything and everything. And the tools that you need will always be provided by the universe, in sync, perfect timing, not more than what you need, sure, not less than what you need to continue. So I started doing energy work on people. I had no clue what I was doing. I still don't today, but I put on a good show about it. And I was this 800-pound gorilla. I had massive bandwidth back to source. and I was working on people, and they were a slab of meat to me. Man, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but whatever. And, I'm moving this energy through them. And I know that the great work is getting done, but they're not coming back for more. And what was happening was I was hitting them so hard with energy that they would detox within 2 hours, maybe 3, with working with me, and I would give them, the detox was so severe they'd have like flu-like symptoms for days on end. So, from a business perspective, that was not a good model, so I had to change that really, really quick. But I existed within, my full-time job in this amazing metaphysical world, and for 10 years, they coincided perfectly with each other. I built the software line, I built the workshop line, the personal session line. And in October of 2015, I couldn't do both anymore. I just couldn't. So I left the bank. Great job, good money, great career, all of it, to devote myself 150% to what I do. And this is, proof positive that I made the right choice.
I'm getting that when you do readings on people that you see through multiple timelines and, multiple dimensions. You might not tell them what dimension it's in. So I'm just curious if you know that when you're doing that.
That's another good question. and yes, and I am very conscious about what I see and how I interpret it in human form, but I'm even more conscious about what I tell people. Okay, you need to be so careful, because when someone exposes themselves on that level to me, they're naked. I mean, energetically, there's nothing that stands between me and what needs to be done. So I never tell people about their future, ever. That's just, if you ask me, I don't do it. Why? Because the future is unset for every one of us here, and your path needs to evolve naturally. If I say, you're going to be a doctor, I've just altered your path, right?
Did you tell them that?
If I say whatever I say. So I'm very conscious about that. And then, look, the bottom line is I'm a raw at what I do, and I know that. And sensitivity is not my strongest point. Getting results is. Raw power in delivery, presentation, and end result is what I've always been about. And I have become a little bit more sensitive to people as I work on them. And I'm very careful about telling them of multiple lives that they've had, because look, here's the bottom line: you're stuck in your own bullshit. Not you, but whoever. You need to move forward. So what's the problem? Well, I got a bleeding heart, because of my last relationship. Okay, so you're stuck, unable to move forward because this energy has you grounded, and you can't move forward. So we're going to remove that energy. What I'm not going to tell them is what they're feeling has spanned multiple lifetimes. Why? Because the more I feed that story, the more real I make it, the more of a grip it has. And doesn't allow me to do the work that I need to do. So, most of the time when I'm working on people, there are 3 types that come to me. The first one is they know exactly what they want and what they want me to do. And once I start telling them things about themselves that only they know, then I start telling them about the things that they don't know, then that story vanishes and then the real work gets done. Second type are people who just want to connect for one reason or another. As we start peeling back the onion layers, then the truth comes out. And the third is just people that like to challenge me. And I love that because they're paying me anyway, so whatever. So I am, I have a heart of gold. I really do. My presentation is not what people expect. I get results. That's all I do is get results, and I get them one way or another. And over time, I have, learned to become a little bit more caring in what I do. But don't make any mistake. I love what I do, and the vibration and the frequency has softened me immensely over time from that moment before my wake-up experience to what I've become now. But the universe has equipped me with everything I need to get my job done.
So if you see someone that has, say, parasites, and I don't read that they have parasites, but I read that their body is actually the same as a planet. I know this sounds really weird, but because I was Mother Earth at some point, and I had somebody else verify that, but I'm no longer Mother Earth. So if I say my name is Mother Earth, I would get a yes. My name is Karen Cannon, I would get a yes. So whatever was going on in Mother Earth that was my job to heal or do, I would get an alert in my physical body of what it was that was needed to be done. So say theoretically somebody else has this, but I might read that there are inhabitants in that planet that are living in a place where they're not supposed to live because it's not habitable to live on their planet. But could it be like you would sense maybe parasites, or Cathy might sense, I don't know, an immune system breakdown or something like that, and I'm sensing them as a planet. So do you know what I mean? Like there's like 3 different perspectives of the same person.
That's another great analogy. So everyone is equipped to deal with a situation. So for instance, if we're working on who's Debbie? If we're all working on Debbie, right, you're going to have a perspective based on what you're equipped with. I'm going to have a perspective based on what I'm equipped with, and so are you. Now, the reason that the 3 of us are brought to her is because we all have a piece in the great work that needs to be done. But these 3 healers over here aren't going to see anything because they're not part of that. Although she might go to them and spend money, they're not going to do anything. Okay? So perception, contract is how and why that work will allow to be done, get done.
But are you also saying that you're not necessarily supposed to identify it fully?
It's a catch-22. I don't deal with sensitivity to people I'm working on, and they could be highly sensitive to what I say. So if I say you have a liver fluke and it's 8 inches long, you don't, by the way, that could scare somebody. So I'll just say, you have a physical parasite, use Perennia by Dr. Natural maybe to knock it out. Or, we'll do, something on the fly that's more specific, like lemon juice and organic cinnamon. Why? I have no idea. But when you follow my advice, you get the results. Where it comes from, why it comes from, I never question, ever, what I'm doing. Unless I feel weird about it, then I don't say it. But when people follow my advice, they get the results they need. You know.
You guys have any questions?
Come on, you're like The Walking Dead. Bring it.
Nice compliment. Hope you're not sensitive.
I'm super sensitive.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's funny.
I'll dumb myself down if that helps. a little
No,
bit.
not at all. I think it's beautiful. I think it's incredible.
I've never been a
Super
good
amazing.
question person. And then they come
It's
out
because you're
with
all
easy.
reeling with vibration. It feels
Yeah.
good.
No, I love what you said about how it's depends on our. I reworded it in the way I say it. It depends on your path. Like if something works for you, or doesn't work for you, is it part of that contract or it's not? And I always tell people they're like, oh, I've been to all these healers and it didn't help me. And I'm not saying, well, it's not because necessarily the fault of the healers. It just may not be, that's not your path. That's not what you were supposed to learn or guide or whatever. And now you're here or whoever they're working with, like Cathy. So I think that's really a really, really important point.
So that is a great point. So when I started out and Aquaware came into fruition, I was out of my marbles. I was just like, oh my God, I created this. It'll cure everybody for blah, blah, blah. It'll do this. And I started advertising, banner ads, email blasts. I had such a negative backlash from it. And from a business perspective, when you have to spend money to make money, but when you're spending money and you're creating this crazy confusion out there because the product vibrates so high that when you put it in front of somebody, if they're not awake, that frequency will turn them negative sometimes. However it is.
It'll be so foreign that they just reject it.
Exactly. And a better business model that I learned out of burning through quite a lot of money was to sit back, chill out, concentrate on the product line. If you have an amazing experience with something, you're going to go out and tell 10 people. Or if you're using a product and you don't say anything, but someone's saying, wow, your skin looks fantastic, what are you doing? You're going to tell 10 people. And then people come into the MDM world with no pressure. They can download a free workshop, they can download some free software, and then they can make an informed decision based on what they've heard. And there's a level of comfort that I am not imposing on.
Yeah. And I think there's all these marketing courses out there and everything like that. But I don't know whether it's just the healer world, but it's really I found about authenticity and about who you are and your beingness. And it's not about the template or the style or the format. You need this banner ad, or you need to do X number of emails out. And half the time I'm like, I might have bought some of these stuff in the past and maybe did it, maybe I didn't do it. But then I just do what I want to do anyway. And it usually works out. Yeah, it usually works out.
So by holding true to that model, it has been good for me. I don't read anything that's out there. I don't absorb anybody else's information. Everything I have done to date has been through my own exploration. I have spent 15 years down the rabbit hole. I've been on the edge of the consciousness grid at 200 miles an hour with my hair on fire to do what I do. And, my views, my opinions are just that. They're views and opinions. And if you gravitate towards them, great. But I'm not going to put up a facade and be someone I'm not. Look, I was born in New York, raised in the Northeast, and if you're good with that, cool. Then we'll rock it. If you're not, that's cool too. All right, I think I've used up all the time. Turn the camera somewhere else.
What time?
3:10.
It's your turn, Cathy.
It's okay. Yeah, whatever. So that's still going. Should I say hi to everybody?
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody. Hi, everybody. This is originally being broadcast in the Nutritional Energetics group. So hi, everybody. Glad you could make it in, and we'll see you later. Bye, bye, guys.